The SPY closes in on its pattern completion of its falling broadening wedge. The triple Qs heads towards a gap fill out on the daily time frame, and the VIX signals for further bullish price momentum to continue. Welcome back, everybody, to High Quality Trades, the channel where I provide top-notch technical analysis on the stock market, where we go over simple support and resistance levels, trendline breaks, and pattern formations. And I give you the price targets of where price is headed in the coming days. So let's get into it. In today's video, we will be going over the SPY, the triple Qs, and the VIX. And at the end of this video, we will be going over Caterpillar as the high quality trade setup for the week that did hit its second price target on the day. So let's get into it. First up, we have the SPY on the 4-hour time frame. Today, September 19th, the SPY closed at 570.98. It reached a high of 572.88 and a low of 568.08. We were positive 1.71% on the day. Alright guys, so what is price currently doing? Well, it does look like the SPY has almost reached a full pattern completion of this falling broadening wedge. By taking the opening and just moving it upwards to the break, this did signal that prices were going to run up towards 574.70. Now it has taken some time, but we have neared the full pattern completion with today's price action. Ultimately, this pattern completes up here at 574.70. So we have a little more to run. Hopefully by tomorrow, that this pattern will get its full completion of its opening. We did hit our upper weekly expected move today, so that is probably why prices ultimately turned back around. We are looking for the SPY to hold support here at 568.65. If this level manages to hold as support, then we should be headed up towards that 574.70 level. But if the SPY heads lower tomorrow and we break below this 568.65 level, then we will be headed towards a gap fill underneath us right here from the breakout of today's candles. This gap ultimately fills here at 565.15. That is where I'd be looking for price to head down towards if we do get some bearish price action tomorrow. Let's pull up our MACD and the RSI for a second. The MACD has curled up and is headed further in positive territory. This is bullish for price to continue moving upwards. And the RSI has almost made a new high to nullify the bearish divergence here on the charts. Going down into the 15-minute time frame, SPY is continuing the upwards momentum brought to you by this rising 200-day moving average. If the SPY can remain above its 200-period moving average, then prices should continue moving higher. Today we got quite extended from the moving average, as you see here. Price can never get very far from this moving average before ultimately retracing back down and closing the gap. So we could head down towards support here at 568.65 tomorrow to close this gap a little. But ultimately, it's looking like prices are going to complete that falling broadening wedge pattern on the 4-hour time frame that completes up at 574.70. At least that's what I'm looking for to happen in the coming days. Alright guys, that's it for the SPY. Now let's go over the triple Qs on the 4-hour time frame. So today the triple Qs gapped above resistance at 481.44. Then we did head higher up to our next resistance level of 484.62, which we took out the highs back from August 22nd. But then ultimately at this level, the bears did step in and push price back down towards support at 481.44. If the triple Qs manages to hold this level, when we turn around and head back up and break through the 484.62 level, then prices should head towards the gap fill out on the daily time frame. That doesn't start to fill until around 488.28. So if price doesn't find resistance at that 488 level, then we could try to fill the entirety of this gap. It ultimately fills up here at 496.34. This is where price is most likely headed if the bullish momentum continues in the market. Now if we pull up the MACD and the RSI on the 4-hour time frame, the MACD is continuing its upwards momentum, creating green bars on the histogram and moving further into positive territory. The triple Qs nullified its bearish divergence that I was talking about in my last video. The bearish divergence that we got here between prices here and here. So now that we have broken above this consolidation area high, we can continue pushing higher in the market for at least a short while. Depends on how overbought we get on the RSI, on how far up in price we're going. Maybe we'll only reach the bottom of this daily gap before the bears step in and try to push prices lower. But I'm looking for the triple Qs to at least attempt a gap fill on the daily time frame. Now if we go down into the 15-minute, price is above its 200 period moving average. We have gotten quite extended from the moving average here, so a pullback was imminent, and now we have ultimately retraced, and it looks like price is headed down towards 481.44. Now if this level manages to hold as support and the bulls step in and push prices back up towards 484.62, then this moving average will continue its upward slope and continue to support the buyers. If we get above this 484.62 level, the price is most likely headed up to 489.05. But if we were to fall below the 481.44 level, the price will most likely find support at 477.98, and then this moving average will most likely have moving up towards this support level as well going into tomorrow's session. Alright guys, that's it for the triple Qs. Now let's go over the VIX. So the MACD on the 4-hour time frame for the VIX has curled over and headed back down into negative territory. We have created our first purple bar here on the histogram that is signaling for bearish price action to push prices lower on the VIX. This is bullish for the market in return. As the VIX falls, the markets usually rise. So I'd be looking for the VIX to fall down towards this gap fill area here. This gap doesn't start to fill until around 1574. But as long as we don't find support at this level and the VIX pushes lower, this gap ultimately fills down here around $15. We did create another down gap on the VIX. With today's price action and early market trading, we did create quite a big down gap. Now if the VIX wants to head higher and try to fill this gap, we would first need to break above resistance at 1722, and then we can attempt a gap fill here on the 4-hour time frame. This gap ultimately fills at 1820. If the VIX fills this gap and pushes higher up to its next resistance of 1888. Expect the highs from a couple days ago to be our next resistance level, 1939. With the bearish price action on the MACD, I'm looking for the VIX to fall and fill this gap at least on the 4-hour time frame. Alrighty guys, that's it for the VIX. On Tuesday night, I gave out a high quality trade setup on Caterpillar. Now Caterpillar stock had broken out of a bullish pennant pattern as you see here on the charts. On Tuesday, it had just broken out with this candle here. And I said as long as we don't break the lows of this candle, then prices should continue moving higher. Our first price target being this 356.74 level, and then our second price target being the highs from this candle here at 369.20. As you can see, both those price targets were hit in a timely fashion this week. Actually exceeded how fast I thought that prices were going to hit this level. So if we go a little bit further on this pattern, by taking the opening of this bullish pennant and moving it over to the breakout area, this pattern is signaling for Caterpillar stock to ultimately reach new all-time highs up here at 417.28. I will say there's another trendline break that I'm noticing right here. So Caterpillar has also broken this trend line, which is probably why we got such a bullish move today and yesterday. Alright, let's just stick with the bullish pennant pattern. I'm saying the prices are going to reach upwards 416.50 in the coming days to weeks. Well, actually, more like weeks to months, because this is quite a big pattern. But I remain bullish here on Caterpillar stock going into the end of this year. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. If you could like and subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it greatly. And also, if you have any stocks of interest, drop them in the comment section. And if I see some bullish or bearish setups, then I will put them on my channel. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.